Hey there, my web crafting wizards. In today's episode, we're going to create a fun preloader animation for your website. So this is really cool to kind of captivate the attention of the users when they first visit your webpage. You get this nice smooth animation, as you can see that we have here. So it's going to be super fun. We're going to do a bit of coding, a bit of JavaScript just for fun, and I think you're going to really enjoy this. I know a lot of people also ask me what camera I'm using. So this is the Sony A7S III. I think it's the G Master 23mm lens on it. I love it. It just practically sees in the dark. It's fantastic. So anyway, doesn't matter too much. Let's get into our animation. So we're gonna jump into Wix Studio, as it has a bunch of the animations already built in, which is pretty cool because we can do it quite fast. So let's go here and create a new site. I'm gonna choose a new studio template. I will just do a blank canvas for now. So let's click on this. So basically what I want on this page is to make it black first and then have a line kind of animating in and then text popping up on top of it. And then we're gonna have this nice like reveal slide effect on top. So let's get going. First of all, what I want to do is make sure I have this section take up 100% of the viewport height. So the way we can do that, well, let's get rid of this nav for now. We'll just get rid of it, delete it, and then we'll grab this section that we have here. This is given to you by default. Then we can go here to the height section, enable the advanced settings, and then here for the min height, we can just change that to 100 VH, which is going to be basically the size of our screen. So that's the first step. Now we could put the background color on this here, but what we can also do instead is leave this here so we can just put like an image or a video behind it and then actually create a container on top of it where we're gonna put the background color on. So for now, I'm just gonna go here and just choose a random image. So let's just pick something just so we can have like a placeholder. So again, remember, this is going to be on the actual section. And now in the section, we're going to drop in a container. So let's just drag this on top. If you check the layers tab here on the left, you're going to see that the container is in there. And then here you can just stretch this out, right, to take up the full space. Now there's a lot of cool different effects you can do here. One of them is, again, you can just kind of put this on black and animate it in and out, or what you can also do is do a glass effect here. So let's just turn this on for now. This may actually look pretty cool. And then you can choose here not only the background color. So here, see, as you can see, we can just darken this a little bit as well, which is pretty cool. So let's do something like that where we turn this to around 30% or so. And then we can also adjust the background blur. So let's do that for like 25 pixel. That looks pretty good. Maybe we'll intensify this a little bit to like 35, just so the text on top of it is going to look a bit clearer, because it's going to be white. So we have to choose, like, hey, do we want to do white text or do we want to do dark text? And then we'll adjust this background according to that. But first of all, let's start with the line animation here. So we're going to go to the side panel here. I'm going to drag in a line and I'm going to put it in the middle, just like that. And as you can see, you have this little stretch icon here, so we can just click that. Now let's grab this and actually change the color over to white, and the line width is fine if we have it on 2. That's plenty. It's up to you if you want to stretch this out all the way like that, or if you want to leave a bit of space. Let's actually do it like this so we have a bit of space on the left and right side. Now, how do we add the animation to this line? It's as simple as going over to the lightning symbol. All right, we're not getting electrocuted. We're just making animations here. We're going to choose entrance and we are going to go over to reveal. Now, if you click on this animation preview here at the bottom, you're going to see that that doesn't look too good. That's because it's going from the bottom currently. So we can choose it to start from the left side, animating it all the way to the right. So if we hit preview, look at that, you get a nice little line animation there. That looks sick. All right, and then we can do a little bit of delay here, like 0.25. And then we can also choose the easing here. I think cubic looks a bit more interesting. No, that's a bit too intense. Maybe ease in, out, cubic. Let's give that a go. There we go, that looks pretty cool. And now what I want to do on the bottom side here is I want to have each individual letters of my title pop in here. So we're going to do a little bit of JavaScript fun. We're going to do a loop here to essentially animate those individual characters and kind of like a typewriting effect. So let's just add some text. We can go here to the plus icon at the top and let's grab a title. Let's bring it here. Let's do it at the bottom because we're going to do a cool like eye icon here at the top. So let's just bring it down here. We'll go change the color over to white. Let's pick a more fun font here. So let's do maybe Poppins medium italic. That might look pretty cool. Quite happy with the position of this now. It's up to you. They do have like effects here that you can do for the text as well. So something like that, or you can do like an expand. Maybe the bounce would look pretty cool here. But again, what I want to do is individually animate these characters in. So we can just use JavaScript to do that. So we can head over here to the left panel, enable start coding, and this will be as simple as cakes, I promise. So as you can see, that opened a little panel here. Mr. Cameraman, would you do me a favor and zoom in? Thank you. Okay, so we have a function here that basically runs when our website is ready. So what we can do here is create another little function here that's going to set the content of this text. So let's just create it up here. I'm going to name this async. We're going to see function set content. Let's name it like that. So this is going to take in the content here as a parameter, the animating text, and you're going to see clearly what this is, and then a delay as well, because we want to be able to control like how fast or how slow the typewriting effect goes. Okay, so let's see what we need here. So if we go here in our onReady function, again, remember that we just initiated the function here, so we haven't called it yet. But what we can do is get all the individual characters, basically the text of this header here. So if I click on it, as you can see, it has an ID of text3. So we can easily select this by saying $W, opening this up, and in here, we can just do text3. To actually access the text content of this, you can just do .text like that. So those are all of our characters. Now we can split them up into each individual letters. So we can do that by putting them in an array. So we can do a split, or we can call this like pieces, and we can just call characters on this and split it by nothing. So if I just pass in a pair of empty strings there, that means that it's going to return me each character in an array. And then our actual like reveal here is going to be set to nothing. So again, remember, initially we want this to display nothing, and then what we want to do here is on this reveal variable, we want to add the letters one by one by one by one. Okay, so I hope that's clear. So what we can do is initially we can set this text over to nothing. So how do we do that? Well, we do our selector, right? So we grab text3. So we grab it, and we want to say, hey, on this text3, the text should be equal to reveal, which is an empty pair of strings. And then we set the content with this function that we created up here. So again, the actual content here that I'm going to pass is going to be the pieces. And then the animating text here is going to be a reveal, right? And then the like delay, I'm going to put 500 milliseconds here. So there we go. So we have all this data now accessible in these parameters up here. Now, how do you make a delay? That's why we add this little async keyword here at the beginning of this function, because we can create another function here called timeout. And this timeout is going to just take in a time. So I'm going to pass in the parameter of milliseconds here. And all we need to do here is return a new promise. And this promise is essentially going to resolve on its own after a certain amount of time. So if you do an arrow function here like that, you can say set timeout, and you can pass in the resolve here with the milliseconds. So basically, this is going to resolve after a certain amount of milliseconds, meaning that it's going to pause for a while. After it resolves, the rest of the code can run. So initially here, what I can do is do a await timeout and pass something like, I'll pass in the delay, right? So now we can control whenever we call this set content here, I can say, hey, wait 500 milliseconds before you start this animation. And that's pretty much it. So now what do we need to do to basically go through each individual letter? Well, we can create a simple for loop. So for let I equals 0, we can say I is smaller than the content length. Here we go. And finally, we can just increment this saying I++. So here we can do an await timeout again, and that if you want, you can pass another parameter here that explicitly controls basically how fast the typewriting effect is. But what I found is around 30 or 40, it looks pretty cool. So let's pass that in. And after this, we can say animating text plus equals to the content I. Remember, because these are in a array, so we can just loop over each individual one and then slowly add it in. So finally, we can just display it to the DOM by saying $. I'm gonna add a dot here and say text equals to animating text. And that's it. That should be all ready to go. So let's give this a shot. There we go. That looks much, much nicer. Now what I want to do here on the top is I want to display an eye icon that animates. Now this was a bit quite hard to do previously, but there is a really cool solution that you can use right now that just came out. This is the Lottie Lab. So there's Lottie Files and there's Lottie Lab. With Lottie Files, I found that they limit you after 10 uploads or downloads or whatever you want to call it. And even if you delete the files in there, they still won't let you add more. But they released this recently. I'm not sure how they're associated with each other or if this is another team, but I managed to just be able to get the animations here and easily download them without any other hassle. So it's pretty cool, and I highly recommend you checking it out. So if we go here, I'll just log in here. I just connected my Google account to it, and you can go here to examples and kind of see what they have. So what I ended up doing is I found an eye icon here that they used in ChatGPT and actually just modified that a little bit and added it to this animation. So if you scroll a little bit down here, as you can see, we have this eye icon right here. So we can just grab this, we can open the file, and we can remove everything else and just keep the eye. So here we go. I haven't really worked too much into this, but it's super simple. What I did was grab the text here. I got rid of that. We don't need that. What I'm gonna do is just grab this background color and change it to kind of match our own, which is a bit darker, but let's just kind of put it something like that for now. Okay, and I'm gonna grab this eye icon here and just move it to the center. So let's just position it right there in the middle. We can even increase it in size if you want. So if we hit a preview now, if I click on the play icon, let's see how that looks. Okay, that looks good. See, we need to remove all of this other stuff here. We don't need any of that. So we like the beginning here, and all of this is good until here, right? Until second 2, we don't need any of this. Maybe even sooner, 1.8, right? And then we just essentially want to loop this over and over again. So let's go here to the animate. If you click this bar here, as you can see, we can see all the little keyframes they added here. So we can literally just grab everything else beforehand here and hit delete. And there we go. That gets rid of everything. And if we go back here, as you can see, there's some points there, which were used for animating those lines. So grab everything here that says line, and we'll just delete that. It looks like there's another little dot there at the top, which might be, let's see if we can find this. There we go, it's this little rotate here. So let's grab this as well and get rid of it. So there we go, I got rid of those rotate ones as well. And what I'm gonna do now is just take everything here and kind of move it a little bit in. Because I don't want this to appear straight away. So we can just drag this in, maybe for it to appear 0.8 seconds in. And then all I want here is for this to start off, well, the color needs to be white as well. So let's change that all to white. There we go. Up to you if you want to keep the blue here. Maybe we'll do a lighter version of that. So maybe something like that. There we go, just to make it a bit different, but not too intense. And then it's up to us what we want to do here. Maybe we just want to animate this in from, scale of 0 or something like that. So let me just grab this at the beginning here, and I'm going to put both of them to 0. So there we go, something like that. Now we don't need to export the background color here, so you can get rid of that and just keep this instead. So let's go here at the export button here at the top, and we can get this iframe code here and copy it over. So I just do copy and make sure that we say optimize and publish here. There we go. And any changes that we make now here, we can easily modify it by just going here and hitting publish version to links. Then we can go back here into Wix Studio. We're gonna hit the plus icon and let's drag in an iframe. There we go. Let's pop in the code as well. And as you can see, the sizing on this is pretty crazy, and we have these long scroll bars. So let's see if we go down to something like 200 each, how that looks. You have weird issues here and you don't want to display the scroll bars or anything. And as you can see, they even have a little message there saying that it's coming from Lottie. We can get around that, don't worry. Don't worry, I'll show you a little solution here. Just wrap this in a div, like that. And I'll cut this, put it at the bottom, right? So we're wrapping it over. And then you just need to pass down a style property here on this div. And I'll put the width to 200 pixels, the height to 170, and also add an overflow of hidden to this, okay? And then what we can do is set a specific height on this iframe instead. So I'll remove the width, I'll remove the height from here, and instead we're gonna add it to a style, just like that. And let's hit update. And there we go. As you can see, it gets rid of the scroll bars, and we cannot even see that little message, which is pretty cool. So we can just kind of scale this down a little bit like that, and then just make it any size we want. So there we go, we just increased the size of it here in the dashboard, and now if we go here to export, we'll just hit publish to links. This is just gonna make it bigger now, and if we wait a second, you're gonna see that updates straight away. So now if we hit play, let's let this load up. Look at that, we get that cool little animation, and as soon as this stops, we essentially want this to slide straight up, revealing whatever is in the background. Now this looks still a bit boring because we have an image, but don't worry, we'll update it with a video, making it look much cooler. Okay, so let's just grab this container now, and what we want is, rather than doing an entrance here, right, we want this to essentially disappear. So we'll need to do this with a CSS animation here. So we can just go here to the side. I'm gonna add a global CSS, and let's open this up. I'm gonna grab the section here and call this a loading container. And we'll need to have a keyframe here in our CSS. So we can create a keyframes called slide. And what I want is to go from a height of 100%, and we want to go to a height of nothing. So we can say height of 0 pixels. Now, basically what I also want to do is, since all of this is in the section here, all the content, I want this to disappear right when the height goes to 0. So we'll need to add an overflow hidden to this. So we can say loading container, and we can say z index should be 20, so it's always on top. We can say overflow of hidden, and then finally we can run our animation. So we can say animation is a slide. Let's put 1.5 seconds in here. Let's do maybe a cubic Bezier here. We'll see which one looks better. We'll just try one and hope it looks good. We'll do a delay as well and say forwards. Okay, let's try 2000 here for the delay, and let's give this a preview. Okay, now check this out. When we go here to the preview, let's wait for this to load up. Check this out. How cool is that? So now that we have that animation running, we can just simply grab this entire box here, right, our container, and just hide it for a second. So we can go here and press hide. Okay, so now we can work with the content below it. So we can go to the media section here, and let's just change it to a video. And this is gonna make the blur look just a tad bit more interesting. And let's say we are making a website that sells 3D models. So let's choose something like this. This is called rolling balls on blue background. I think it's gonna look pretty darn cool. So let's give a preview with this. And after this animation happens, we can also add animations after this line. So after the slide actually goes up. But let's just kind of see how the blur looks on this. Oh, we need to enable the box. It's hidden. There we go. Let's hit enable. There we go, check that out. So let's also add the text animations here now at the top. So let's hide this. And now we can just simply go here, at the plus icon, we'll drag the text in. Let's do something like this, a 3D marketplace for everyone. There we go. Let's position this in the center and increase the font to something like 48 pixels. All right, let's drag that like that. Perfect. Let's bring it a bit to the top. So something like that. And then you can have your buttons here. So let's just add a button for now. Put that in the middle. We'll choose a color that fits this a bit more. Maybe a blue, but not this blue. So we can just go and change this. Okay, something like that is looking pretty good to me. I'm also going to add a bit of border radius here to this button as well. And then we can change the font as well. So you can go to the text here. We can make sure this is Poppins as well. I'll choose a medium one like that. And then let's change the text as well. So we can say something like start selling. And there we go. And then from here on out, we can just individually animate these in. As long as you know the delay of it, it's going to be super duper simple. So let's see how these look. We can give them a shot, maybe not a glide. Maybe we want something quite, yeah, something like this, like the reveal, because we already have the slide going up. So let's give this a shot. We'll change the duration to a second here. Let's try a delay of 2 seconds and see if that's plenty of time. So that's a preview. We gotta also make sure that we turn this overlay on. So let's turn that back on and let's hit play. So that was a bit too long still. Looks like the sweet spot is gonna be around 2.75 here. So let's give that a go. Let's see. And there we go, we got a nice little fade in animation. How cool is that? So now we can just apply that to the rest of our elements. So check this out, I'm gonna go over here to flap and I'm gonna change this to a second again. And let's do a 2.6 on the first one. I'm gonna do 2.7 and 2.8 on the next two elements. So that should be it. So let's give this a go. If we hit the play icon here, we should be able to see that we have that nav coming nice and smooth as well. Check that out. How cool is that? So there we go. That's gonna be it for me today. Hope you enjoyed this little animation. Let me know what you think of it. Did you like it? Did you not? And I have something really fun planned out for you guys. It's gonna be 3D, of course, because 3D is amazing. So drop a like, drop a subscribe. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you have a lovely day.